You leverage your imagination. You leverage the insane ability to picture the events that are going on.
Arcane is one of the most stunning animated shows out there, and we have the amazingly talented creative team to thank for not settling for less than perfect casting. Number 1. You may have known her as a singer, or possibly you got to know her thanks to Hawkeye. Hailee Steinfeld is used to the mic and to acting, so she didn't find it too difficult to really get into the voice acting zone. Dimming the lights in the booth helped set the tone. It was a challenge not being able to physically be in the character, but there's something freeing to her about letting the emotion take over in the intimacy of the booth. Purnell and Hailee never actually met in person, at least while working on this project.
We did meet one time when we were 11 at a magazine thing.
Because COVID and other reasons, everything had to be done remote, but they did get to meet at the premiere.
For the most part, we were just like cold reading against each other.
Hailee did a lot of research, going on Reddit forums, taking in everybody's opinions, and then interpreting them, filtering them. Only then did she give her own flair to it. Number 2. Purnell, on the other hand, refused to consult the internet out of sheer intimidation. You may know her from Yellow Jackets, Star Trek prodigy, Army of the Dead, or maybe you recognize her as young Maleficent from the live-action film.
Well, look who it is. The boy savior.
I've been waiting for a role like this for a really long time.
It was daunting to try and cast for this show because of 6 years worth of expectations.
It was bananas. I mean, I think we went through like 3 or 4 different casting directors.
Casting influenced not only the design of the characters, but also their attitudes and character traits.
We looked for the Jinx actress, I think, for roughly 3 years.
They went through 3 or 4 different casting directors and were ready to give up.
For a while, we were like, can we find someone who can do this?
They needed an actor who could do extremes very well. The intimate and quiet moments, and the loud moments that Jinx is known for.
Very bombastic ladies, that we know from the game.
This was my first ever voiceover audition, so I didn't really know what I was doing.
She was doing an accent.
I just do the accent, and then they choose the rest.
And to really feel the physicality of the character in the booth, she was
Like jumping around, like punching myself in the stomach,
yeah.
like climbing the walls. It's crazy in there.
Number 3. Next up, you probably recognize her best as Cho Chang from Harry Potter. Leung tried to ignore how popular her character was, because it would be overwhelming to have in her head when she's just looking for the humanity in the character.
Beyond her, beyond her skills as a marksman, she's like so much more than that.
Katie has a different British accent than her character, and so a lot of the time she's just focusing on that.
An RP accent, because she is highly educated, she comes from wealth. For Caitlyn, I feel like she's always she's holding back a lot of the time.
She doesn't find that hard to play because she kind of does that anyway. Number 4. Sinclaire Jenness played Matilda for the US Broadway tour. And of course she voiced Nancy on the Disney Junior show Fancy Nancy.
No worries there. Powder took care of the evidence.
She got the job at 10.
They were gonna make a 11, 12-year-old girl cry. Let's see how that goes.
It can be tough to get raw, emotional performances from such young actors in the voice studio.
She left me. She is not my sister anymore.
That wasn't a problem with Mia.
I remember all of us in the booth just being shocked by how good she is.
She had them in tears. Mia has a very close connection with her brother and uses that to relate to her character.
Next thing I knew, it was all just coming to the surface.
Number 5. Mick Wingert is known for his impression of Jack Black in Kung Fu Panda: Legends of Awesomeness, and also Tony Stark in What If? The audition for Heimerdinger came out of the blue for the prolific voice actor. He'd never played the game.
I love a good conundrum.
Before he did his audition, they said on the sides, "We're not looking for a voice match." If they were, they would have just gotten David to play Heimerdinger.
If it is within my knowledge, I will share that with you.
They almost didn't have Heimer in the show because they were worried he'd be too cartoony. So they needed to cast somebody who could bring a lot of heart to the character.
People love a grand reveal.
Number 6. Kevin Alejandro played Detective Daniel Espinosa in Lucifer.
I didn't know I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know a whole lot about the world until I talked to my 13-year-old son.
His son reassured him this would be the biggest thing he ever does in his whole life. So Kevin figured he should just maybe do some research.
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity, attacks at the Hex Gates and in the Academy Square.
Kevin feels honesty rings true in the character when you put a touch of yourself in. For him, that touch was genuine kindness. Number 7. Maybe you remember him from Game of Thrones. Daenerys Targaryen's cruel brother.
Well, what was really nice is that the Viktor everyone knows is not the Viktor we start off with.
By the end of the journey, he will be far more recognizable. So the actor found it fun to start backwards. He was encouraged to be brave and not try to fit it into anything, and to break out a little bit. Number 8. BLanc played Braum in the League of Legends video game.
You've got a good heart. Don't ever lose it, no matter how the world tries to break you.
He's a father to a 16-year-old.
She's not a criminal, but, she can come close sometimes.
So he took some inspiration from his own experiences. Both his characters are guys with heart, so the casting made sense. Number 9. Prolific voice actor Jason Spisak voiced the Joker in Teen Titans Go.
I was actually delighted that I was playing somebody who isn't in the lore.
He found it exciting because he had more artistic freedom with the character, and there was a certain element of mystery to him that fans wouldn't have any expectations for.
There's this wonder that you aren't sure what you're going to get from the character.
The phenomenal script is what makes these things easy to imagine.
I have the power now.
Number 10. Improv is a voice actor's best friend.
Hammer forging is such a delicate art.
Well, so is improv. So the creative heads in the room were all for improvising in the booth.
If I wanted to tweak some phrasing, the creatives were like, yes, go for it.
Which is always awesome to hear. You get the take you need just in case, and then you play around a little. It's a very collaborative process.
We must have done so many different takes.
Yeah, but I said I already called it. You can't do... I called dibs.
Number 11. Let's dive into the minds of Arcane's co-creators. The one thing the writer and director duo Alex Yee and Christian Linke pushed for was authentic performances. They wanted the actors to really dig deep and find what was real and grounded. And a lot of them found that by bringing just a little bit of themselves to the roles. Sometimes the director came into the room and played the scenes with the actors, since they didn't record together. They would do take after take with slight variations.
But none of it felt wasted because it all felt like acting process.
Number 12. These guys need no introduction. Their music is radioactive. Imagine Dragons are all League of Legends players. They were approached very early in the process with the concept art alone. They love having themselves animated into the show. They're not a group who collaborate often, but working with J.I.D on the song Enemy for Arcane was awesome.
Just an incredible artist. I have a lot of respect for him. He's also just a really thoughtful, sweet, good human being.
Arcane truly is packed with a stellar cast. What we're still most impressed by is Mia's raw performance. It's inspirational. So are you Team Vi or Team Jinx? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us here at The Things.